I used to make shoes in Kyallo. I think everybody can remember the Ankara shoes, you know, the cool ones. I used to make those, and then my clients didn't like them so much because of the durability, and so they told me to use leather instead, and I didn't know what leather was at the time. So I just, you know, started to learn about leather, and that's how I started to, you know, use leather, and how I decided to do bags instead of shoes. We started out as Batian Luxury in 2014 and quickly rebranded in 2016. After 2 years of havoc, we decided to be Kyallo Limited, and that's what we are now.
Well, in on-business niche, this is where you get to learn why it is pretty much important to get the right niche. I mean, or to target the right people every other time that you're thinking of business. I mean, more or less like on TV, saying that you are targeting the right audience. Anytime you know your audience, you will never get to go wrong. Now, anytime you know the right person that you're targeting for your product, there's no way you're going wrong on that. So it is the moment for you to get to learn. Nice story.
Yeah.
All right. So here we are, and we all are eager to learn. So
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking of you. You know, I was just talking to her, and I'm like, oh, pretty young, and you're doing it good. I was
Thank you.
listening to your story, and I'm like, 2 years, and I'm doing 4 bags. I'd have given up like yesterday. I would disappear and say, this is not my thing, and off it goes.
Yeah.
But you still soldiered on.
Yes. Yeah, so, you know, I sold 4 bags in a year, and I remember feeling so depressed and, you know, almost giving up, I remember. But I went back into, you know, the research, and I started to look at what are the, you know, buying trends in Kenya, and how is the leather industry in itself. And I found a lot of research done even by the UN and just, you know, by other countries that are, you know, the industry there is bigger, and I got a lot of information. And then I just started to go shop by shop in Nairobi, checking out who is selling what.
Yeah.
What is competition doing? That should obviously tell you what you should be doing. So I looked at what competition was doing, and then I realized where my niche was coming from.
I'm actually listening to you and I'm laughing. I'm just trying to imagine those moments when you go into the shop and you sort of pretend that you want to buy this bag, but in real sense you're researching just so you would know what is missing on the market.
Let me tell you something, Linda. I remember there's a time I went to a very prestigious shop in town. I don't think I should talk about it, but the bags there were about 100,000, yes, and 50,000. And because I thought I was entering into the luxury market, I thought I needed to learn something from them. And I saw what they were doing, and obviously I learned that was not my market, and that was not going to be my business model. So just that kind of research taught me a lot.
All right, that's great. You just said you were working somewhere, and you know, just getting that bold step.
Yeah.
Many a times we'll have this casual talk.
Yeah.
You know, in Nairobi or in Kenya, you just have to survive. Like, there's no way you can depend on your salary alone. You can always find something else to do. So venturing into it and now getting that bold step to say that you being in the office or being hired or being, you know, in someone's office is just not working for me. So let me take that bold step. After selling about only 4 bags, and you still get that boldness to say, I quit and I want to research on this and focus on this and make sure that this works.
So one, I'll say for sure it was not at a go. You know, when I saw the bags weren't performing well, because at that time I had, you know, I had given another retailer who has a shop, and the bags weren't doing so well. And I was also a bit depressed because I felt like I was working somewhere that I wasn't giving 100% of myself. And I was a bit discouraged at the time. So it wasn't just a very bold step. It took very many small steps. And I can say for sure, I remember you know, I used to have the bags in my boot, right?
Oh, yeah.
All this time, you know, 4 bags, you know, they called me back and told me to take all my other bags. They were about 30. And so I took them back and I had them in my boot every day I go to work. And I remember my friend from work now, I love this, I can sell this to my uncle. Then I was like, wow, I've tried this 100%. It's been a year, I've not sold anything. And she went and sold it. And then she sold it to some other colleague of mine in the office. And then I started to realize, what, you mean, you know, I just might have gotten the product in the market wrong, because I sold a specific product to the right market. Then I got interested into wanting to learn, like, how can I satisfy that market that I just discovered. Yeah, so it actually also came as a, you know, like a blessing to me.
Oh, so that's one of the biggest lessons you'd ever know, that you're just getting the right clientele to your product and everything, you know.
And I totally understand when some you know, people don't actually make it to the second month or the third month. Sometimes you just have the wrong clientele. You have the wrong market wrong. You have your marketing wrong. Sometimes you have your product wrong. But then you see, without trying many times, you wouldn't know what works. If those bags still remain in my boot, I would never have, you know, never have known what my actual market was.
I would have expected to find a signpost all over the road and list, you know, everything. Just something that will just direct me to Kyallo and see you trying to sell these beautiful, you know, pieces. But then again, this is not what I'm seeing. So what's your market? Where exactly do you, you know, target?
Okay, I'll tell you one thing, Linda. Everybody asks online, right? Where is your shop?
Okay.
And we tell them
to come there.
Yeah, we tell them you're already here because we are an online business.
What can you attribute your success to so far? Because like you would put it, I mean, everyone would tell you that it's probably not been an easy journey.
I will say, okay, I'll say we thought very differently. When everybody was heading, let's say, east, we were heading west with online business. You know, the e-commerce space, I will say, in Kenya is not that friendly, and the environment as a whole in Africa is not that friendly. You can imagine, I don't put so much jargons in there, but I'll say you can imagine we contribute only 3%, about 3% to the world e-commerce, you know, business.
Drop in an ocean.
You know, it's a drop in an ocean in Africa. And like I was telling you earlier, I feel sometimes that we might miss the boat here because there's a whole ecosystem, business ecosystem happening online, and we are quite slow in catching up. So one of the things I can attribute it to is that we thought very differently. We thought e-commerce, and we thought the future is online. And that is one of the things I can attribute it to. The second thing I can say is I have a fantastic team.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. You know, when you have a vision, especially as an entrepreneur and as a carrier of the vision, you sometimes don't have all the skills to, you know, get yourself rolling and, you know, to just get it out there.
I almost asked you that, you know, like at that tender age, how do you knock the doors and tell these people and convince these corporates that, actually, yes,
yeah, you can
I'm going
bet
to
on
deliver
me.
this for you,
Yeah.
and all that.
By the way, I can tell you for sure it was the team from the get-go. I learned so much, other than coming from corporate and understanding, you know, how to go from this office and which office procures and blah, 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 blah. And it's just basic understanding. I had a very good team from the beginning, people who had done business. And one of the things I'll say about myself is that I'm a very good listener.
Yeah.
I am very good at just learning from people. And that for me has really helped me over the years. And so I got a good team together, got good talent together, and you know, for me, the challenge was to tell them, you know, I want this to be e-commerce. And of course, that's not easy for anybody to accept. And everybody was like, you know, we need a shop, you know, we need a shop we could do with a mall and blah, blah, blah. You know, as an entrepreneur, first that you don't have the budget. But even after us getting to a place where we can afford a shop, we still have made that decision. We don't want to get a shop.
Do you sort of feel like we have respect for our very own brands as a country? You know, pride in this?
Yeah. I mean, obviously yes, of course, people do appreciate those older brands and those more established brands. But at the end of the day, I look back and I see back and I say, if we want as a country, as a nation, as a continent to go somewhere, we need to support our own brands. But either way, our businesses need to give us quality, you know, products. And the one things I usually say to anybody who just even comes to our website or comes to goes on to our social media to buy, don't support us. Buy it because you like it. Buy it because it's functional. So one of the things that is very key here is that we make functional goods that are quality. And if a client doesn't like it, you know, we take it back.
Ever had such an experience where someone will throw shade on your product?
Of course.
Oh, really? How did you handle that?
I mean, the truth of the matter is, you will get something to your doorstep, right? But you might not like it. That's
Online is something else. And numerous times I've bought dresses and, you know, it's a whole different affair.
And, you know, that's the reason online businesses are not happening in Africa because, you know, the trust levels. That's our number one problem, is trust. And we've done our research, and that's the problem. So we have a very good and flexible return and exchange policy. It's important, you know, if you don't like the product, give it back to us. We'll give you what you want, or what you know, based on your complaints as well. Yeah.
Okay. So as we get to wind up, that's the 3 key things you would tell someone. Or better yet, the 3 key things that you tell your team every morning.
Yeah.
Yes, is it, and we're running with it. And I am looking forward to see you also open up your very own brands.
Yeah. I tell my team almost every morning when I come in, you need to think differently. You know, you need to really, really think differently. You need to challenge the status quo. So everybody says that, you know, the pocket should be here. You know, just everybody says that. What do you think? What is your mind telling you? You know, everybody says that you can't start a business and market only on Instagram because, you know, we are an Instagram baby, and everybody says that. But what do you think? You know, so one of the things that I always tell my team is you need to think differently. Secondly, one of the things I'll tell anybody really, don't be afraid to get dirty doing the hard work. You know, you probably have experienced this, and probably most of us have, right? Where you want something so much, but it is so hard to get it in terms of, you know, from where you are and from, you know, where your goal is. And I'll tell anybody, don't be afraid to go out there and ask questions. Linda, for sure, I'll tell you, I went to each and every tannery in this country, like knocking and saying, hi, so do you sell leather? Yes. What is leather? Just learning. That was my learning process, and knocking on people's doors and saying, give me a chance. So don't be afraid to get in doing the hard work. There's no other way. The last thing I'll tell anybody, and also tell my team members, is you need a team. You know, just that we are not all good at everything. Not everybody wakes up at 5 a.m. and has that, you know, wants to go and work, right? So find people around you that can help you be the best that you can be. And also, I'll tell you for sure, equip your team with information, with knowledge, with experience, and give them the freedom to actually just think and do and bring you the results.
How are you the CEO? Like, you're the CEO with your team. Literally sort of felt like, you know, it's that sister brother, you know, relationship in your office, and it's pretty much cool.
It is cool because, you know, where I was working previously before I was at Kyallo, it was such a nice and beautiful environment. Like, it was a creative space, and even with our CEO and our GM, we were so easy together. And I realized something while I was in that, you know, when I was there, is that the working environment is so nice. Making results achievable, right? It's easy to achieve results when there's no tension, you know, when you don't feel like you're dealing with somebody who doesn't even care about you. They just want the results. So for me, that, you know, yes, I'm a bit the CEO, but I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn just like you. I want to know what you're thinking. I mean, give me a chance, I tell you what I'm thinking. You know, that kind of team spirit for me work.
And clearly you can say the productive beat of 8 has not disappointed one bit.